morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. So Alan and Alan's brought me down to the east coast of Scotland. It feels like a mystery tour because there's no telling me where we're going. But we're here at White Sands. Alan's got a really interesting fact about the coral in this area.
So, 320 million years ago, Scotland was just south of the equator, and this part of the beach was a coral reef, and it's been fossilised and we can still see it.
So we've seen it. It looks pretty impressive. But anyway, join us and let's see where this mystery tour takes us today. So we're just walking along this is mega prehistoric coral, and we're looking for kind of composition. So this is going to start off, see there's examples of the old coral there. So we're going to get the macro lens out and see what kind of compositions we can get close up. Alright, so we've started to work the scene. Alan's got some prehistoric coral over there. I've set my camera up because I've seen some coral over here, but it was kind of sweeping. So what I'll do is I'll show you what I've found. So the coral composition I've got is I was looking for the sweeping lines, and the sweeping lines away. I've got the macro lens on. You've got a wee kind of swirl here on in the bottom of the frame, but the coral is swishing away, and it's really hard to think that this is over 320 million years old. And like Alan was sharing earlier, who would have thought this was in Scotland? And there you can see some of the flutes of the coral there, embedded in the rock. It's really impressive. Right, what we'll do is we'll take 2 or 3 shots here, and any compositions we get, we'll share these images with you now. Alan's over in those rock pools, but what I wanted to show you was it pays time to take your time when you're in these places, because you've got all these rock pools, you've got the different colours, but what I was spotting earlier was I had that wee shell that I took loads of photos, but I've just moved it around. But you've got these wee tiny shells, and I've taken a photograph with my finger next to it just for scale. And there's another wee tiny red one in there, but because we're using a macro lens, when you see the image they should be quite large, and that can be quite deceptive sometimes when you want to kind of show scale. But anyway, the formations of these rocks and the leading lines that you're getting here are pretty cool. So I'm going to switch lenses and I'm going to get some extra shots, and we'll shoot down because there's some nice green seaweed and the rocks there that could be extra saturated and quite nice. Alright, so we're just heading along the beach a wee bit further. The one thing the camera can't share with you is the smell. And where we are, if I take in the smell, there's a real strong sea salty smell. It's actually brilliant, because then you know you're really at the seaside. But I'm just going to catch up with Alan and see what else he's got in store. And there he is. Got a wee shot here The water flowing down to the beach. Got these beautiful saturated greens. Right, let's get set up. So Alan's just shared with me that all those holes, because they're quite distinctive, is part of the old prehistoric. Well, it's probably the same time.
After the coral, there was a layer of earth landed on it, and then through that earth there was a mangrove swamp grown, and then it was all washed away through time. But all these pit holes are the holes where the mangrove trees were.
Wow, who would have thought mango trees grown in a forest in Scotland? Well, Alan's brought us to Spittle Beach, and we're now in Englandshire. So we've crossed the border into England, and we've come to a beach, come to Berwick-on-Tweed in England. So we've just crossed the border, and we're going on to the beach. So let's see what we find in this beach. Well, we're on the beach. I think what we're heading for is those rocks. Alan took amazing images of these rocks and won quite a few competitions, because these rocks are quite unique with some beautiful patterns. We're hoping we get to see them today. Alan's just sharing that there's a lot of sand here, whereas the last time Alan was here there wasn't as much sand. We've had some serious storms recently though. We're just looking at the rocks here, looking at all the lines and the shapes and the colours. So we've come up, further up the beach, so if I just swing round, you'll get to see the beach where we are. And we've just walked up and we've found these rocks. And look at all the different patterns in those rocks and the different undulations. So we're going to keep walking. So the stuff that looks really interesting is getting, oh my feet are sinking into the water here, is getting these lines swirling, and then you've got that area here that's high rise. What we don't want is the reflections in the water. And we get close enough, we've got all these lines following this ridge. It's quite interesting. And then if I walk over here, we've got more lines as we're walking along. And then you've got a kind of another shape with more lines in the rocks. Right, and then there's another rock over there. There's another rock over here. Alan's started taking shots over there. So what I'll do is I'm going to pick an area and I'll see how that turns out. And when these images are finished, in this one area, I'll share these images with you. I'm just going to share with you one example that I have here. So the reason, what I've got is, I went up close and I found these lines and markings in the rocks. But what I'm trying to do from a composition point of view is make sure those lines come in from the bottom left hand side and then sweep up through the screen and then up to the right. So from a compositional point of view, we've got that kind of wave in the middle. The image starts at the bottom left, sweeps up and then up through the bottom right. It's quite tricky. I've got the sun behind me, so I'm having to watch and make sure my shadow's in the way. The colours are pretty special. I hope they come up in the images. It's very abstract, very, very abstract. But you get quite intimate with these rocks, just looking close up, and you're getting closer and closer. So you're having to look for new things. Anyway, I'll keep taking these shots and I'll share these close-up images with you now. depending on the light, this is a really good exercise for abstracts and composition this morning, especially with these rocks. Because what I've got here is you've got a bit of the sand and then you've got all these lines shooting up the way. Now the problem is I'd like to do it face on, but if I do it face on, then my shadow is going to be cast by the sun. I might be able to turn round and try at a different angle. But what I'll do is I'll try different compositions, different angles here at this rock face, and then we'll see how they turn out. Alan, we were also having a chat there. Because this has got a lot of sand on it, it'd be great to bring a wee brush with you so you could sweep it all away, but we don't have that luxury. Anyway, I'll share these images with you. Right, so I've come over to this cluster of rocks and I've been working these because there's really nice lines in these rocks, but also I've positioned my camera there because that looks like a bit of a wee canyon, so if I can get down low. So the batteries ran out of my GoPro, so I'm using my phone. But I'm just showing you, I've come to this area where there's water coming out of this cliffside, and it looks like it's all iron oxides, and it's hitting that rock and the water's spraying off it, and then it flows down, and as it's flowing down, it goes down to the beach, and there's Alan walking up. So I've taken 2 or 3 shots here, and what I'll do is, when I'm finished, I'll share these images with you now. So our next stop, Alan brought us to Spittle Point, and you can see Berwick Lighthouse over there in the horizon. So we're just going to use this opportunity to go and find some driftwood. Alright, so I've got a composition here where I'm going to use this driftwood as a leading line up to the lighthouse, and as you can see I've positioned myself so that the direction of that driftwood is actually pointing directly up to the lighthouse. But I've positioned the wood in the centre of my image. So what I've done is I've stepped back. I'm shooting at about 60mm distance. I've stepped back so that I've got less of a gap between the driftwood and the sea, and then I've got the lighthouse in the top of my frame and the horizon. I'm going to take 2 or 3 of these images. I might stack it. I might take a shot of the driftwood and then I might take a shot of the lighthouse and bring the two together just to make sure I've got it all sharp. But when I'm finished, I'll share this image with you. A very interesting composition here because you have a dilemma. So the dilemma here, and Alan and I were talking about this. So we've got this driftwood as a bit of leading line. What you don't want is that driftwood to break the horizon. So the debate we had was, could you break the horizon of the beach and just have the nick of that tree matching or fitting into the end of the pier? So I'm going to take that shot and see if that works. And then what I'll do is I'll go higher so that the tree doesn't break the horizon of the beach. And what I'll do is I'll share those two images with you, and if you drop a wee comment below and let me know what image do you prefer. Do you prefer the image where the tree breaks the horizon of the beach and touches the sea but it's just under the lighthouse, or the second image where the tree, I'm shooting for a higher elevation and the tree is under the horizon of the beach? So if you can leave me a wee comment, that would be really helpful. So this is our last stop today. We've come to either Rootin Linn or Roughton Linn, because we're in South Berwick in England. We're not quite sure how you pronounce it, but we're trying to find it. So when we get there, got some nice wee bluebells in the woods, quite a lot. We're just watching our footing here because it's quite treacherous. We've already tripped. Right, we're down at the kind of stream level, and oh, I was going to say we can hear water, but there's a wee cascade here at the side. But Alan reckons we're not far. Some nice shaped trees though. Can hear water. Oh, there we go. Oh, that'll be quite nice. A wee dusting. The Roughton Linn waterfalls. Oh, this is a nice find. Look at this, quite Jurassic-y. And there's the waterfall there. That's different. Right. Well,
Where to start?
we've got too much choice. Alright, let's get set up. I think this is going to be a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
Right, we'll catch up when we're ready for the first composition. Alright, so I've managed to get myself up here with a really nice viewpoint. And what I've done is I've set my shutter speed to 1/5 of a second so that I can get the streaks in the water. I've got my polarizer on that will take the sheen off the water in the foreground. And then I'll need to take different exposure for the sky, although the sky's white. So there's no detail in the sky anyway, so I'll probably be okay with that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take 1 or 2 portrait shots. I'll switch round and I'll get a landscape shot. I'll play about with my zooms. I'll get a close-up shot, a wide shot. And when I'm finished in this location, I'll share these images with you now. I've just come down to the edge, so what I'm trying to do is just get a kind of wide shot at this level. So I'm probably going to do a 4 or 5 shot panoramic, and then I'll see how wide we can get it. I did the panoramic when I was standing on the rock. That gives us a higher perspective. This is a lower perspective. I'll do a couple of wide shots as well. I'm still using 1/5 of a second, but I've increased my f-stop to f11, and I'm still shooting at ISO 100. But I noticed over there's some nice rocks with some foliage on it. So I'm going to work my way around and see if I can use that as kind of foreground interest. But first of all, I'll share these images with you now. Under this little cave area and I'm using the left hand side as a different composition. So I've got these 2 rocks in front of me. I've got this gap in the middle, so that's my leading line that's taking me into the base of the waterfall, and then as we can see we then run up to the top of the waterfall. So we've got a nice flow through and up. So So I'll keep taking these images. I might try a landscape shot as well and maybe do a 2 or 3 shot panoramic, so I've got a wider scene. And I'm still using the same settings because nothing's changed in here. The light's exactly the same, it's really constant. The only changes I'm really making are the shutter speed, and that's either to slow down the water further or to speed it up a wee bit. So I'm kind of fluctuating between 1/5 of a second and 1.6 seconds. Anyway, when I'm finished, I'll share these images with you now. Come up to the top to get a really high elevation over the Root Lynn Falls, and what I've got here is I'm focusing in on the wider basin. You can see my tripod, but we've got the wider basin. With the falls coming in, we've got more foliage above, because before and earlier I was avoiding the sky because there's nothing in the sky, and as you can see it's getting brighter and brighter. So what I'll do is I'll take 3 or 4 different shots. I'm going to do a wide panorama here as well. And when I'm finished, I'll share these images with you now. All right. So we've, well, I've had a brilliant day.
Yeah, we've covered a few different topics.
Thanks very much to Alan for the mystery tour. We got visited by a lot of tourists there, so we took a number of shots, but we couldn't take footage. So the shots I took there, I'll share them with you now. So I think we'll end the video.
Yeah, we've covered 2 or 3 different areas, something that you wouldn't normally do.
I would never do.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's been brilliant learning actually on the beaches and then looking at the rocks with the macro, finding that coral that was over 320 million year old. Has just been an education as well.
It's different.
Ah, thanks again. Well, here's hoping we can make a video of this. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that will let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks again to Alan.
Thank you.
And here's to the next video.